Hello everyone and welcome back to the Auburn University RFID Lab monthly update. My name is Justin Patton. A couple of updates for you this month. This time I felt like I would start with aviation and aerospace. So there's been a few developments on that front. Clearly commercial aviation is still a little bit odd as compared to where we historically have been. But there's some things and I think some opportunities, especially as we get to low touch, no touch interactions with those airplanes and passengers, even in the terminals and things. So there's some programs and some interest. I believe that area is kind of getting a little bit more momentum behind it as well, especially for new technology, so more to come on commercial aviation. On the aerospace side of the house, there's a few exciting things. I think some of you probably saw one of the first commercial crews that went up to the space station a couple weeks ago. NASA has made supply chain for space and aerospace a priority. They put several $1 billion towards this towards the end of last year. And the interesting thing is it's not just a NASA program or government-funded programs across the world now. You've got a lot of private companies that are getting in the mix as well. And in the past, we had inventory control and inventory accuracy issues, I think, monitoring at a few different locations in space, for example, on the ISS. But in the future, we're looking at the ISS, we're looking at Gateway, we're looking at Mars missions, we're looking at other moon missions. So there's a lot more stuff that is going up. There's a lot more stuff that needs to be staged. There's a lot more stuff that needs to come back down. I think we're seeing the very beginning of a major push towards aligned standards for identification, different methods and technologies for inventory capture and inventory accuracy and inventory location, a lot of the logistics stuff that comes along with any major enterprise, especially in an extreme environment like that. There's a lot coming down that pathway in the next couple of months. So we're very excited. We've got some good contacts there. We've had a lot of people that have been pretty excited about this from a few different private companies and as well as on the government side. So more to come on that front as well. Moving into a little bit of a wrap-up, we did a virtual board meeting for our retail partners a couple weeks ago. Very well attended. The morning session was open to the RFID Lab board members as well as external partners that were brands and retailers only. We had about 280 to 300 visiting brands and retailers that were trying to find out about what was going on and what the opportunities were for RFID in their programs, which is outstanding. That is excellent interaction. Had some good questions. I think everybody's trying to stand up programs for inventory accuracy because BOPUS, Bioline, and ship to home and all those things are driving a lot more need for that. So on that front, in the morning time, we did a quick address on where the industry is at. We had a panel session. We had a gentleman from Haynes. We had a grocery store representative from Hayes Food Town, and then we also had Mike Grain, which most of you know from a lot of different projects from P&G and Walmart and others, talk about the status of some of their programs. And then we did a solution provider panel. So we had all of the board members that were solution providers participate in this program panel. It was excellent. It was kind of talking to where we're at and what the availability is of solutions, from chipsets to inlays to software solutions to integration systems, everything up and down the line. We answered some good questions and hopefully put a lot of bad information to rest and brought up some new stuff in terms of how people could help get started. And then finally in that morning session, this is something that we've been hovering around for about a year now, is an aligned industry playbook. Those of you who are already using RFID in retail will recognize this as a tool that most of the retailers will use to push to their brand partners that says, here is what you need to do to get compliant with our RFID program. These playbooks can be anywhere from 3 to 20 pages, and they typically contain just the bare minimum details. Where do you put the tag? What kind of tag do you use? How to encode it? What needs to be printed on it? All that good information. Most retailers were using basically the same type information in these playbooks, but what we did is we worked with a few different partners and we've created a consolidated playbook. The idea is that if we can push this out as a single standard or as a single playbook with some modifications, it'll make it much easier for brands to comply with multiple retailer requests. And for new retailers that are coming into the space, it helps them understand and know what it is that they need to be requiring of their brand suppliers to make sure that they're getting in compliance. So very well received. If you're interested in that, we actually sent out a review copy of a draft of that playbook paper. It's out for comment review right now. And then we will be having a meeting after the 4th of July with the folks who submitted comments back on the Aligned Industry Playbook to discuss how we would finalize and push this thing out here. And we're working with our friends over at GS1 US, and hopefully we can offer it up as some type of an industry document through those channels or others. The board meeting, I believe we recorded that, and I think we're going to push that out to the board members. I'm working with GS1 US to figure that out now. And then also the following week after the board meeting was GS1 Connect. It was a virtual event. We did a 30-minute film session for that on the CHIP project with myself, but mostly Matthew Russell. If you are interested in that, you can go out there. I believe those videos are available through the GS1 website on those project updates. So the one positive aspect of the shutdown has been that we have had a lot of time to get papers done that we typically took us a little bit longer in the past. So the students have been very hard at work. So I'm going to kind of give you a rundown of all of the different papers and drafts that we have out there. A lot of these are on comment review as well. We had a BOPUS paper. This is Buy Online, Pick Up in Store. We created a benchmark scorecard for BOPUS, and we've gone out to a lot of different retailers, and we have been, I won't say grading, but benchmarking them on how well they're doing against that BOPUS scorecard. This is things for like, how closely does their website align with their actual in-store availability? How easy was it to pick this stuff up? How accurate were those BOPUS orders? How long did you have to wait? Where did you go get it? There's many different little things that we can score and benchmark on these retailers as they try to move into these BOPUS programs. We encourage you to take a look at this paper, and if you're a retailer and you're curious as to how you're doing in comparison to everybody else, it's pretty easy to go out there and use this benchmark to benchmark yourself against some of your competitors or partners or whatever. So that got a lot of good feedback too. We're going to do, that's also out for comments, and we're going to do a follow-up as a group on that draft paper in mid-July. Data quality. This was another big thing. This is more on the distribution center side upstream. This is not just retail, this is for everyone. But the idea is that, and we've been talking about this for a long time right now, we have the capability to see what's inside boxes right now. This is something we've never had before. But that is a lot more data than we've had, and it comes with a lot more responsibility than we've had to deal with in the past. So for example, just because you see a problem in a box, there may be multiple different ways to resolve that. One way to do it is to just reject the box and start all over. Another way to do it may be to open that box and find the issue and correct it. Another way to do that may be just to let that box pass on through and make some type of a notation to a downstream partner that something was inaccurate and you'll correct it in a future order. So a lot of people are having not difficulty, but we're going through the process of figuring out, now that we can see what's going on inside these boxes at a per unit level in these DCs, how do we really truly optimize this data to make it work for us? So there's a paper, it's extensive. Pavni and Palash and Matthew and that team have done an outstanding job, and to go through there and you can see all of the different considerations for data quality, all the different factors that affect data quality, how to diagnose whenever you have an accurate versus an inaccurate case issue, and then how to rank or grade the severity of different quality defects in those cases. Again, that data quality paper, it's out for comment review right now. We'll do another follow-up on that, expecting good things out of that. The CHIP work group, you've been hearing about this for a while now. This is the serialized data exchange. A lot of people refer to this as the blockchain project. We're using a Hyperledger Fabric blockchain model to transition data from brands to retail partners. That has also gained a lot of momentum, really in the sense that we're getting some partners on that project that are adding some significant volume, a lot of volume, and we're seeing some major claims costs. So the good news is that is moving forward. I don't know if it's good news or bad news, but the cost opportunity and the claims problems that we thought are actually probably worse than we anticipated. There's a lot more dollars out there that are floating around that are not being resolved quickly through claims, and we're working on that right now. So that CHIP project is also going forward. If you're interested as a retailer brand, let us know and we can help you there. We had a presentation from Reed Hayes and our friends down at the LPRC in Florida talking about loss prevention. This is a follow-up to Joe Call from Macy's, who spoke at our board meeting last February. And we're talking about how we can get some better aligned industry data on shoplifting and stuff with RFID tags in the stores. More to come on that. DART program also had their kind of debut. DART was formerly known as Comet. What we've done is we've kind of gone through and we tried to quantify the consumer experience in a retail store. It's everything from all of their processes that they go through and all the decisions that they make at each point of the way in the shopping. So do I get a basket? Do I not get a basket? Do I look at a display item? Do I look at the item on the shelf? Do I try it on? Do I not try it on? Various different decisions that a consumer can make as they buy an item. And we quantified that, and we're in the process of creating a simulation model so we can plug in different variables. And what we can do is we can change that store experience based on new types of technology, and then we can simulate how that will affect consumers' behavior, especially by preloading previous consumer behavior into this model, and then seeing how we make subtle variations into how they can interact with the store and see what the outcomes will be. This is very exciting. We've been looking at this. I have not seen anybody from an academic perspective who's really pushed this very far, but the idea is that in the future, we will be able to say, when you put any new technology, it's RFID, computer vision, whatever, in a store, we can predict before we even turn it on how it is going to affect that consumer shopping experience. It's something we've never really been able to quantify in the past, and I think we found a way to do it now. So the DART project, again, if you're interested, contact us, and we can show you more information on what's happening there. The ARC program, several updates there. The quality manufacturing certification continues to kind of pick up some speed. We're adding a lot of people to that. This is a big thing right now. Probably the number one biggest issue we're seeing in the industry, and these are based on retailer feedback, is quality, especially as we're hitting volume. I think we pretty well got performance in hand. We've been doing this for a while, and most of the tag and inlay manufacturers have got some pretty good products out there. The number one issue we're just trying to make sure is that people are putting the tags on the product correctly. They're using tags that aren't falling apart or having major issues or weak tags or things like that. Quality manufacturing has kind of been the big key push right now, so more to come on that. DC performance requirements, this is kind of in line with what I talked about earlier with the data quality. In order to get good data from what these items are in these boxes, we need to have a better understanding of what kind of RFID system we would need to put in place to capture the information in there. So we've got a lot of folks that are out there trying many different types of tunnels or boxes or side tunnels or all kinds of different stuff, open tunnels, closed tunnels, lots of different things. We've got different brands running conveyor lines at different speeds, high speed, low speed, pack stations, you name it. We found that the brands and the retailers are having a hard time communicating their requirements to the solution providers in an effective way. So what we're doing is we're putting together this performance requirements document so that we can use that as a template to create some type of an RFP and hopefully drive some solution providers to some industry-aligned solutions rather than having to create a new one-off every time. So that draft is out there as well. Again, mid-July, we're going to have a follow-up review on that for folks who put comments on that paper. And then finally, Dr. John Zhang and his team on the automation front, they published a whole nother slew of papers on robotics and automation team. That drone and ground robot team is really picking up momentum. We finally got the drone working the way that we want it to, and that all ties back in to bring it full circle back into aerospace and aviation. That's a big drive right now, especially with aerospace supply chain, is how does this fit back into different automation and robotics programs. So I know that was a lot of stuff. I am happy that we have a lot of stuff to give you. These are all concrete, tangible work groups and work streams. I'm extremely proud of the students who are making all that happen. I'm extremely grateful to all of our industry partners who have participated and kind of helped drive these as well. Next virtual conference we have is on July 29th. It's a Retail Supply Chain USA conference, and we're going to be talking about the CHIP project. I think this was a reschedule from a physical event earlier this year in April in New York, and they're moving it to a virtual online event. So with that, I know it's a long update, a lot of stuff going on, hopefully even more next month. So thank you very much, and I will see you in next month. Thank you.